Would you like to have your query letter critiqued, but you don't want to pay to have that happen? It can be done for free, but it will be public out here on my socials. My name is Jean. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. As always, information on how to submit or do this through my business privately, where we do 3 rounds back and forth. That information is all linked in my bio. If you don't want to wait for either of those processes, I have a class that is $30 for 3.5 hours worth of content. It is available in my bio on TikTok underneath the series button, or it is on my Patreon. 3.5 hours worth of information. I teach you how to write your query, your synopsis, how to make your life easy while you are querying, how to navigate some tricky etiquette situations. And then there are before and afters of successful query letters for clients who have worked with me, who have gone on to sign with literary agents or have publishing deals. As always, there's a real life person on the other side of this, so we are going to be constructive, not destructive, and nobody tell them to just self-publish, because that's not how any of this works. Let's jump in. I am seeking representation for Pure Disaster, a young adult fantasy romance completed 110,000 words, perfect for fans of Shadow in the Ember, City of Brass, and Plated Prisoner series. This book is woven with high... Okay, so I don't know Plated Prisoner, but Shadow in the Ember and City of Brass are not YA. City of Brass, I know the character, I think she's described as being in her teen years or very young adult years, and she reads kind of young, but it's not a YA novel. Like, it's not. And I'm not even 100% sure that this character is in her teen years. These are both sold as adult. Like I said, I don't know this one, but this means that we've got some confusion about where we're trying to land this book. Woven with high stakes and tormented you're just describing the genre, so you can pull that out. You can delete that. Has Middle Eastern representation as part of a planned series but can stand alone. Great. Driven by vengeance, Nashmil, the most powerful being, steps into the last mortal kingdom she must save as demanded by the curse placed upon her. Okay, so is she driven by vengeance, or is she doing what the curse demands? Those two things seem confusing together. And why is she being cursed to save people? This feels like unnecessarily confusing. I bet we don't need these details in here, but we will wait and see. Her plans halt when mythical and undying creatures, the Wash, rise and poison her, forcing her to stop using her powers significantly or risk the spread of the incurable poison. So again, we've got some confusion here. Are they saying you can't use your powers significantly? So you can use them a little bit. Or have they threatened her in a significant way to tell her to stop using her powers? Or are her powers significant and they can no longer use... This is worded and phrased in a very confusing way. I recommend reworking this. The fae that was poisoned with her, Hamza, is revealed to be her mother's murderer. Okay. Nashmil must set her rage aside and travel with Hamza through the kingdom of Tarnish in a search for a kill switch for the Wash as they rain bloodshed. I think we probably mean R-A-I-N, like rain it down upon you. But maybe not. Maybe they are ruling over the land in bloodshed. With no luck, the two resort... So that's not totally how we use... That's not usually how we phrase that. I mean, I guess, like, with no luck, they didn't find the kill switch. The two resort to finding the culprit. Is that not the same? Culprit responsible for the creatures rising, along with a slow passion brewing between them. The warriors eventually arrive at the capital. So you're saying the warriors arrive along with their passions. So we've got some dangling stuff here. So we've got some like general grammar, like word choice issues in here. This would tell me like the story needs to be absolutely killer in order to overcome this, because this is going to need a pretty significant line edit. The warriors arrive at the capital, where the palace is viciously attacked by the Wash and Nashmil is fatally wounded. This all feels like maybe you're trying to do a plot summary rather than focusing on character stakes. So I can stay with you, but I think you've written a plot summary here. Thus forcing her to stop using her powers at all or risk immediate deaths. And you've also now used the same plot device twice. In only 2 paragraphs here, where she's stop using her powers or risk incurable poison, stop using her powers or risk death. So that does not bode super well. Let's keep going. Simultaneously, the presumed dead princess of Tarnish, Tanith, I would recommend renaming one of those. Those are very similar on the page. It's going to get confusing. Returns with no memory of her life. Thrown into the mess that has become her kingdom, Tanith must steer away the civil war rising. Must steer away from the civil war, must stop the civil war from rising. Again, word choice issues here. With the Wash before she discovers the atrocious truth behind their emergence. I'm not sure what that means here. Let's keep going. Learning to let go of her anger and need for power, Nashmil must accept her past to face the dark secrets revealed, horrific deals dealt, and tragic sacrifices made by everyone around her to stop the Wash. Okay, so you've given us a plot summary, and then when it came to stakes, you sort of like skimmed over it, but you've actually got some really cool stuff in here. Who is our main character? We have a princess who doesn't remember her life, and we have a warrior sorceress who cannot use her powers. Like, that sounds really super badass once you boil it down and we stop like flubbing around with all of this like backstory, world building, plot summary stuff. You've got some really cool characters. Let's focus on them. So what do they want? They want the same thing. You do not need like 3 paragraphs of one character and then the other. Like, they want the same thing. We can get to those stakes much more quickly. So what do they want? They want to prevent these monsters from overtaking their kingdom. Their stakes are intertwined. They look like they probably have different assets to bring to that fight, but you haven't really highlighted them. You've buried them among all this other stuff. Because that princess, in her forgotten memories, probably has some good information, and we need to recover those memories in order to be able to stop the civil war. And the sorceress probably needs to be able to use her powers, but she's being stopped from doing so. But you have not come out and said this explicitly. You have sort of like hinted at it and like beat around the bush in a really confusing way. So they both want the same thing, and if you frame it slightly differently, we're going to see how they need to work together much more clearly. What are they willing to do to get it? The sorceress, who cannot use all of her powers, is willing to travel across the kingdom with her mother's murderer. You have a really great setup to a story here with tons of tension, and you've just buried it at the bottom of the paragraph. Not just at the bottom of the paragraph, but like with a bunch of other details on top of it that are unnecessarily confusing. So the sorceress is willing to travel around with her mother's murderer. What is the princess willing to do? Totally missing. That's not in here at all, so we need to include that. What is standing in their way? We have tied that up in the like, what are they willing to do to get it here? So like we're missing those memories and we're missing our powers. So like that's what's standing in our way. Big giant monsters, can't use our powers, can't access our memories. What happens if we fail? That is also missing. So Civil War, bad. I get that. Monsters, generally bad, but also like we have sexy monsters in some books. So like we can't just assume monsters bad. So we got to explain what the stakes are. So we're going to remove a lot of these plot details. We're going to get those out of here. They don't belong in here. And instead we're going to focus on what happens if they fail. They are joined in purpose here. They have the same goal, and you have done a good job of setting up like what's in their way and what they are struggling against, and what we can see very clearly how that would impact the plot. We don't need quite so many plot points. We don't need quite so many like world building details. Instead, focus on these characters, which once we boil it down to those characters, you've got a really great pitch here. Focus up.